Hey guys, it's Kenya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So yes, I have another podcast style video for you. This is just easier to do versus actually getting dressed and setting up my camera. And yeah, so let's go. So on my channel, I did make a video called the 10 ways to outsmart a narcissist, I believe it was called. So anywho, so I've already spoken that I lived in a household with two narcissist parents, my father and my grandmother, which is my father's mother. And one of the biggest thing that a person who suffered from narcissist abuse or is a black sheep or scapegoat, could do is to try to convince other people in the family that you're not the problem and that your narcissist parents or caregiver is the problem and that they're abusing you. That's the worst thing that you can do. And I learned that the hard way. So just, being transparent and sharing my story, because hopefully this could help somebody else out who is probably going through the same thing that I went through. So like I mentioned in another video, when I was about 28 years old, I decided to cut the cord. I no longer wanted to be their narcissist supply, and I don't want to deal with them, and I wanted to separate myself from them. However, when I did this caused a lot of chitter chatter in the family. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? You only get one parent. How dare you not talk to your parents? Where is your respect? When you walk in a room and you see a grandmother, you better speak. And I get it, but anytime I would walk into a room and I would say, hi, grandma, I would give her the opportunity to basically say something really nasty in return, which would basically drain my energy. And I noticed this always happened. Anytime I say, hi, grandma, it's like she had all these, reads, saved up in her brain. She probably used to write them down, where every time she see me, she had something new to insult me about. And I just didn't get it. And so when I would walk in the room, I would sort of not make eye contact with her. I would just sort of like keep my head down so I didn't have to speak. And then family started calling me out on it. And I don't think that they realized that I'm just trying to protect my energy. Now, when you have narcissist parents, you have to realize, what I realize is that your family doesn't experience their experience with your narcissist caregiver isn't the same experience you're having with them. A narcissist is usually someone who is charming. They're charismatic. People actually like them for the most part. And so that's what people see them as. However, when you are the black sheep or you are the scapegoat child, your experience with that narcissist is going to be abusive because you're their narcissist supply, if you get what I'm saying. You're who they feed off of, you're who they provoke and, mentally abuse, physically abuse sometimes, So the worst thing you could do is try to convince others to see your narcissist caregiver the way that you see them, because it's only going to make you look bad. It's going to make you look terrible. And I made that mistake. I tried it like, oh, I'm not the one, it's not me. I have a great reason for why I feel this way, trying to convince others, and they just were like, girl. And as I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned that on this channel, my mom fell victim to drugs, and so my dad had to take me in, and my grandmother. So it's like, because my mom was a drug addict, I was looked at as low-hanging fruit by my family. Like, it was like I didn't really have a chance. And something traumatic happened with my mom, and my aunt said that she was never the same again, and that's how she fell victim to drugs. Which I don't know if I'm going to discuss that. I may, if I feel comfortable. And so my mom went from being, a studious, astute person to a drug addict, and it was like night and day with her. And my family, my mom's family, they still have a lot of love for her and they respect her. And my cousins always say she's their favorite aunt because they still see the good in her, even though she has this drug addiction. And so getting back onto the topic, when I was living with my dad at the age of, I believe, 5 or 6, I was in kindergarten. My family sees it as I'm ungrateful. They took me in. How dare I not speak to them? Like, what is wrong with you, girl? But it's like, yeah, they did all this stuff for me. My dad spent lots of money on me. He invested a lot in my education, which I'm grateful for. However, he did that for himself. It was to make himself look good or feel good or be seen as a great person or dad. But on the flip side, when we were alone or not around family, his attitude towards me it wasn't a great attitude. My emotional needs were not met as a child, and me trying to explain that to family and close family friends who don't see it that way, it's like, oh, you're ungrateful, you got problems, you got issues. Instead what I should have did was just kept it cute and kept it on mute and just not said anything at all, not tried to defend myself at all. And a lot of the time, what you got to do is you just got to separate from the whole family. You just got to pull back from the whole family, because the more you talk, the more crazy you look. And if you don't talk, you're still looking crazy. And I remember my aunt, which is my grandmother's sister, asking me, like, what is going on? Like, because she's like the only family member who notices when I get silent. My aunt Debbie, nobody else really notices it, But she noticed, okay, I got silent, so something is wrong. So she's asking my cousins who are in my age group, like, what is going on? And my cousin, who is 10 years younger than me, she's 10 years younger than me, the only one with some cotton picking damn sense, said to my aunt, which is her grandmother, maybe there's something going on within your immediate family, meaning like myself, my grandma, and my dad. Like, the only one with common sense to realize, like, there's something deeper going on in their immediate family. There's something going on over there. And when my cousin was explaining to me, that her grandma was concerned about me and that she mentioned that to her grandma, I was like, wow, girl, like, okay, she gets me. Like, so I'm not alone. So people do get me. But then again, I never really spoke to my cousin about anything going on in my immediate family. And I feel like maybe if I would have kept it mute and stopped trying to convince other people in the family why I made this decision, maybe they would have sort of got me too. But because I opened my mouth, it was, how do you call it? It worked against me, So, yeah. So that's just my word of advice. Just don't even try to convince people. Just do what's best for you. Do what's best for your mental health. And in the long run, I just had to separate completely from the family to have peace of mind, to have, every time I run into family, they're asking me, did I speak to my dad or did I talk to him? And I'm not going to live a long life because I'm disrespecting my dad. No, disrespecting him would be rolling up on him like, yo, and cursing him out, letting him have it, laying into him. That's disrespectful. But I chose to, keep it, just detach myself. So, that's just me sharing my experience with having narcissist parents, because I like to just share my experiences on my channel, whether it be with career, being a real estate agent, or working in property management, or just life hacks and things that deal with mental health. I just want to share my experience because, my experience could possibly help someone out, because when I was growing up, I couldn't just go online and hear someone else's experience about the same situation I was dealing with. And now it's the information age and people have the opportunity to do so. So if you have typed in, how to deal with narcissist parents or anything on that topic, and my video came up and you listened to it and you got something out of it, I just want to thank you for coming and clicking on my video. And it's no problem. I love to help people out. You have any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section. I do love to comment back and forth and interact with you guys, because we are like family over here. So with that being said, thanks for coming to kick it with me today, and toodles.